What's up, Net Soldiers? I'm the Alliance. Welcome back to another video. Today, I have something new, something interesting I'm going to try out, and it's called Unpopular Opinions. So pretty much what happens in Unpopular Opinions is I cover the fans' unpopular opinions, and I kind of decide whether or not I agree with them or I disagree with them, and it will kind of make sense as the video goes on. Pretty much what I want you guys to do in the comments below. If you have an unpopular opinion or like a guilty pleasure that no one would actually agree with on movies, TV shows, comic books, games, anything pretty much, and if it's considered an unpopular opinion, I might just cover it and give you a shout out in the next video. So like I said, guys, give this a chance, see if you like it. If you don't like it, that's fine, but I think it'd be a pretty fun series to see why people would feel the way they do, and kind of like tackle why opinions are different, and maybe even open people's eyes to why they might feel the same way about a certain opinion. So I think it's interesting. Let's try it out. This first one is definitely going to make some people mad, but honestly, this is from the bottom of my heart. I personally think that Incredibles 2 was not a good movie. Oh yeah, let that sink in. Now, like I said, the whole point of this video is to make people go, what? You don't like this? But why? Blah, blah, blah. And then kind of explain your reasoning to why you don't like it. And that's what this series is pretty much going to be about. It's a different type of video, but I'm going to try it out. So let's see how it goes. So anyways, so why do I think Incredibles 2 is not good? I think if Incredibles 2 came out before the original Incredibles, so let's say Incredibles 2 was the Incredibles movie, the first one, it wouldn't have done as good. I think it only did good because we've been waiting for 20 years for it, you know what I mean? It was a long-awaited sequel, probably one of the most long-awaited sequels since Kingdom Hearts 3, and I cannot believe that it took so long to get it. It really should have taken that long, but we did, and unfortunately it was a letdown for me. My biggest problem with it is the fact that the characters from the first film aren't the same but as the characters in the second film. I'm not just talking about the voice actors of the kids or anything like that. I'm talking about the actual characters and the way they've grown in the first film. It's almost like it didn't happen in the second film. Like if you watch the first film, the characters all kind of have like their story arcs, and that's that. And it does a good job of doing that. And then in the sequel, primarily when it comes to Mr. Incredible, he's probably my biggest complaint. He's kind of still a bullheaded jerk, you know? And I get it, it's supposed to be based in the 60s or 50s. And so, like, you know, the men were the breadwinners, you know, that's how it works. But personally, I just thought that his character seemed like he digressed from the first film. And everyone was so busy giving Wonder Woman, everyone was so busy giving Elastigirl all the credit, which she was really cool in this film, and that she was thick too, you know what I'm saying? Dude, real thick. That I feel like since they raised Elastigirl so much higher than she was in the first film, they really brought Mr. Incredible down, and he was kind of just like a bullheaded jerk, like I said. For an example, like in the first one, he seemed like a lovable doofus, you know, and that was kind of like his character. He wasn't specifically dumb, he just wasn't like the smartest dude, you know, but that's okay because he's not supposed to be brains, he's supposed to be bronze, right? That's his character. When it comes down to him in the second film, he's not just a lovable doofus like before, he is now like a bullheaded jerk, like I keep saying. He's just purely stupid, and I feel like they definitely ruined his character. So while they heightened Elastigirls, they totally brought down Mr. Incredible in my opinion. And for me, Mr. Incredible was my favorite character from the original film. I think he was a really good character in Incredibles 1, and then Incredibles 2 came and kind of knocked him off his pedestal, and not only did it like take him down a bar, it completely destroyed his character for me. And I tried watching Incredibles the second time. The first time I watched it, I was kind of caught like by that, and that's like my biggest complaint. And then I watched it again recently, just before making this video specifically, and I actually watched it like maybe 3 or 4 days ago. And personally, the gripe is still there. There's a couple more different gripes too. Nothing super big. I'm actually surprised that they had that one fight with the screenslaver. I thought it was a cool fight, but I remember watching it in theaters and being like, whoa, like this is gonna cause like epilepsy. I didn't think they'd actually do something like that. I wonder how many seizures that had created. Still a nice fight. I'm not gonna complain about the fight. I just think it's kind of weird that they did that. Another big complaint was the villain. I saw it coming from the very beginning. They kind of lead it off to be it's the brother, but you instantly know it's going to be the woman, you know. This is a much more woman-driven superhero film, I guess you could say. When it comes down to it, that's not a bad thing. I'm not attacking that, but you can totally tell that this is much more directed toward girls, where the first Incredibles was just kind of like everybody's. You know, it was more, I guess you could say it was more directed towards boys, yeah, but like it was directed towards everyone. It didn't really have like a girl power message, and if it did, it also had a boy power message, and you know, it taught you other lessons, where this one kind of was just wanted to drive home the fact that, hey, girls can be just as good as boys, and it's like, no one said that. What are you trying to prove? You know what I mean? And I feel like that's kind of overdone, but that's kind of how it is for everything in Hollywood right now. Everything is trying to send the girl power message, even Star Wars, and it's like, no one's really attacking that power, so it's like, why are you still sending this message? You know what I mean? Move on to the next message. You know, why can't you do everyone's power instead of just girl power? You know, so it's not really, I'm not trying to attack. I don't want that to take it, like people to take that offensively and say, oh, you don't like girl power? What's wrong with you? You don't like girls? You know, people are gonna do that, and I get that. And that's the point of this video. It's not to really start arguments. It's to start a debate, you know. And I really like this idea of just like kind of putting out a different opinion. People are still gonna hate it, but people are going to understand, hopefully, that's your reasons for it. So like I said, those are my main gripes for Incredibles 2. I thought that some of the side heroes, I guess you could say, they were pretty interesting. There was like a couple of them that looked really bad. Like the one dude, what was his name? Crush? He just looks like, he looks awful. He looks like they took the first concept and just took it, you know? Like usually with the concept, when you're designing characters, you have different concept characters, right? So you go from like this character to this character, maybe decrease the strength, increase. What they did was like, he probably asked like his nephew, like his 5-year-old nephew, like, hey, draw me a picture of a superhero. And then that's kind of what they used. They didn't even do like any editing. So he was a pretty ugly looking superhero. The rest are okay though. I didn't really mind the rest of them. But yeah, my biggest gripe with Incredibles 2, and the reason why I don't think it's a good film, is because instead of heightening the characters, besides Elastigirl, of course, instead of heightening the characters that we had from the previous film and taking what we had from the previous film and lifting it up, they ended up taking Elastigirl and lifting her up and kind of just bogging down the other characters and making them not as good as they were. In fact, the lessons that we learned in Incredibles 1, or the characters learned in Incredibles 1, are all but moot by Incredibles 2 because they're not the same characters. And so that's my biggest problem. It'd be different if we had maybe a year or two jump from film to film, which I think was probably the biggest mistake that they did with Incredibles 2. We should have had at least 2, 3, maybe even 4-year jump. You know, we should have had that massive leap. And we didn't. And I don't agree with that. I think that it would make more sense for why the characters would be the way they are if that would happen, but considering it's right after the last film, what it does is it tarnishes the ending of Incredibles 1. And that's personally why I think Incredibles 2 is not a good film. By itself, I think that people would really have ripped it apart, but because Incredibles 2 is the sequel to one of the most beloved Pixar films ever, I think that's why it gets a lot more love than it deserves. So, like I said, Incredibles 2 is not an awful film, but it's definitely not a good film. It's very, like, okay, if not lower than that. So, yeah, like I said, that's my unpopular opinion. I know some people are going to really dislike what I have to say, but, you know, at least I gave my points, and I want you guys in the comments below to give me your unpopular opinion, and I might cover it in a future video. So pretty much give me your unpopular opinion, and then feel free to give like a brief explanation to why you feel this way, and then I'm going to cover it in a future video. I think it's fun. Let's see if it works maybe once a week. If I get a bunch of submissions, maybe I can do it twice a week. I think it's a cool concept, so let's try it out. But that's it for now, guys. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more videos. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later. Peace.